नमस्कार दोस्तों, आज के कार्यक्रम में मैं स्टूडेंट काउंसिल की तरफ से स्पीकर ऑफ स्टूडेंट काउंसिल आपका हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। जैसे हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति में प्रावधान रहा है कि हम हर कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत दीप प्रज्वलन के साथ करते हैं, इसलिए मैं प्रधान सर और आज के वक्ता सर को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वे दीप प्रज्वलन के लिए आ गए। साथ में राठौड़ सर को मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो भी आ गए।
शुभं करोति कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसंपदा शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते।
अब मैं कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए आज के प्रमुख वक्ता नीलेश जी और डॉक्टर प्रधान सर को मंच पर आमंत्रित करता हूँ। उनको विराजमान। अब मैं डॉक्टर प्रधान सर को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो आज के मुख्य वक्ता नीलेश जी को तुलसी जी से सम्मानित करें। इसी दौरान हमारे साथ सूरत के सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता दिनेश जी पटेल साथ में हैं। मैं उनको आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो मंच में विराजमान हो। अब मैं मृत्युंजय को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो डॉक्टर प्रधान सर को तुलसी जी से सम्मानित करें। मैं मेरे मित्र हर्षिल को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो दिनेश जी का तुलसी जी से सम्मानित करें। मैं जय को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वो हमारे साथ उपस्थित राठौड़ सर का सम्मानित करें। जैसा आपको आज के कार्यक्रम में सबको पता होगा कि आज के कार्यक्रम का क्या टॉपिक है और आज के कार्यक्रम के मुख्य वक्ता के बारे में आप सभी को पता होगा। 8 पेज का CV सभी बच्चों में फॉरवर्ड किया था, उसमें से कुछ पॉइंट मैं आपको बोलना चाहूँगा। आज के मुख्य वक्ता हैं नीलेश जी। आप BCAM कर चुके हैं UDCT यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ बॉम्बे से 1990 में। उसके बाद आपने MS किया केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग में यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ अल्बर्टा से 1995 में। उसके बाद MBA किया फाइनेंस में एमोरी यूनिवर्सिटी अटलांटा से। इसके अलावा अभी आप असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर के रूप में काम कर रहे हैं स्कूल ऑफ इंडियन स्टडीज इन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एडवांस साइंस इन मैसाचुसेट्स। इसके अलावा आपका बुक और आर्टिकल्स में काफ़ी योगदान रहा है। जैसे आपने एक बुक लिखी है व्हेन डिड द महाभारत वार हैपन, द मिस्ट्री ऑफ अरुंधति। इससे आप सभी को पता होगा कि कितना अतुलनीय योगदान रहा इंडियन स्टडीज़ को बढ़ाने में। मैं आज के मुख्य वक्ताओं को आमंत्रित करता हूं कि वे आज की चर्चा को आगे बढ़ाएं।
Namaskar. Namaskar to all. Can you hear me? Everyone fine? Okay. So the agenda for today is my goal is to go for first 30 to 40 minutes and create some kind of a framework, some kind of a baseline. The idea is that I give you enough of information about my work, but also about the Mahabharata and background, a little bit of a background. And in my mind, the real joy is into question and answer. I think that is where the real learning takes place. Okay, otherwise it's going to be a monologue from my side. Okay, so please bear with me for first 30-40 minutes. Pay attention to what specific things I'm going to tell you. And in the meantime, if you can also write down a question. So of course you can ask question verbally. But the reason I'm asking you to write down, and this is a humble request, is what happens. Now I'm doing this for many years now. And what happens is, in asking a question, many times people give such a long preamble. They will tell many different things, and finally I have to say, please now, what is the question? And what that does, nothing wrong with the preamble, but when you take that time, I think that time can be better utilized with more questions and answers. Okay? And so let's begin with today's topic, the dating of the epics. And if you had seen the invitation before or the flyer, it did not say astronomy poison pills, correct? What did it say? Accuracy of astronomy equations or something like this. So why did I change it to astronomy poison pills? There is for a reason. Because there is a strong relationship between the accuracy of astronomy equations and they working out along with the evidence from the epics as astronomy poison pills. Now just because I say astronomy poison pills, no one should be worried. Okay? In fact, who should be worried? I will tell you in a minute when we get to the definition of astronomy poison pills. Just give us. I will use this. Okay, so 3 points I want to cover. The first one is the scientific method. Then we want to talk about what the astronomy poison pills are. And because we are talking of the epics, I will divide them into astronomy poison pills or the short form app. Yeah, everyone is familiar with the apps these days, right? For Mahabharata and also for Ramayana. Now in reality, there are multiple apps. In case of Ramayana, in case of Mahabharata. But because of the time, I'm going to just talk about 3 each or 2 each. So, in case of Mahabharata, I'll combine in a combined fashion. I'll talk about 3 apps. In case of Ramayana, I will talk about 2 apps. And then there's another very important issue that all of us should make ourselves aware. Those of you who are aware, that's great. If you are not, just like any scientific field or any specific problem, there are multiple theories. If any physics students here, and we have physics as a program, right? Yeah. Quantum mechanics, you would have heard obviously the quantum mechanics. And to explain this, how many theories are out there? The simple answer is many. Okay, I also worked in quantum mechanics. The last time I stopped working, there were 17 distinct theories in quantum mechanics trying to explain the phenomenon. There may be more now. So similarly, there can be multiple claims. So I'm going to talk about the dating of the epics, that's the topic. So when exactly the Mahabharata war took place and when exactly the Ramayana took place. So now Ramayana goes over a long period of time. So specifically I'll say Ram, Ravan, Gupta. Okay? because both are wars, Mahabharat war and Ram Ravan war. But I'm not the only one who has come up with this claim, and I'm deliberately using the word claim. It always remains a claim in science. It may be a better established claim, it's a claim that is better than all other researchers, but it's still nevertheless the claim. Einstein said all our theories are basically one data point away from being destroyed. Some additional information may come and it may destroy that information. So I will talk about how to look at different claims and do the comparison. Is it possible in science? The answer is yes. Quickly, the state of Indic leadership, scholarship. What I mean by this is, first, I'm sure a number of you have heard this, Aryan invasion theory. Aryan invasion theory, right? And just recently I gave a talk on this at IIT Chennai, Madras, on Aryan invasion theory and how every single discipline of science falsifies Aryan invasion theory. Okay? It's a nonsense. But we'll see why it is a nonsense, because it doesn't fit the structure of science. But what has happened is that when we could overcome the Aryan invasion theory, and as an Indian scholarship, we tried to say, okay, so if that's false, now what is the timeline for our Indian civilization? And there, many Indic researchers, and when I use the word Indic, I don't mean necessarily just Indian, it's not a racial designation. It's those people who are interested in exploring, knowing more about Indian civilization. So they typically fall into this next bucket. Somewhere from 800 BCE to 4000 BCE, sometimes 5000 BCE, sometimes 6000 BCE. And that is where you will see the timeline, people trying to fit the timeline for Mahabharat, for Ramayana, even for Rigveda. Now we will see what is the challenge, what is the problem with that. And there is another one. I call it, for a lack of better name, and if you suggest me something different, I will use it. So I'm not stuck on these names. I call it Yuga dogma. In fact, all these three are dogma. The reason I'm saying Yuga dogma, how many of you have heard this? And of course, some of you may be familiar. Millions of years, for a certain yuga. Krita Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga, and so on. Okay? It's true in the sense that it exists in our ancient literature, but many times it is misunderstood. And I'm not going to go into that, but what happens is, these are the three distinct crowds that I face with my research. So AIT will talk about theirs and say, well, if you are telling me some different date, how do I fit AIT? The middle Indic group, they say, well, your date doesn't fit into that timeline. And then the last one, they say, well, something Ramayana happened millions of years ago, and your date does not fit there either. The common factor for these groups, now there are some positives about this, by the way, but the common factors are this: there is an element of dogma. And what does dogma means? Like, you can have a theory, you can have a speculation, and that's perfectly fine. But even when sufficient evidence is presented which contradicts what is being claimed, and still you hang on to it, that is when it becomes a dogma. Yes, they use some stray evidence, they don't use all the evidence, and we'll understand why in science we need to use all the evidence. Both evidence which supports you, but which also goes against you. Okay? And then typically the discussion, the level of discussion is into opinions. In the opinion of so and so, he thinks like this. In the opinion of so and so, she thinks like this. Or agreements and disagreements. For example, people will simply say, I don't agree with you. I have a deep disagreement with you. And I love that when somebody says that. Because when they say deep, that means they have done some work. And so I said, please, I'm very happy. Please tell me what is your deep disagreement. Typically, it doesn't go beyond that. So that's the background. Social science versus real science. Take a minute and read what it says. Can everyone read? Okay. So in case of real science, and we are not talking any specific subject, you may start with a hypothesis, but if it conflicts with the evidence, what do we do? The person reaches the conclusion, we need to change our hypothesis. In case of social science, and you can call it a non-science, I'm not so much gung-ho on the social. If your evidence doesn't match, instead of saying I need to change my hypothesis, you say, maybe the reality need to change so that my hypothesis stays as is. Just keep that in mind. Now, what I'm showing you here, this is a cave from Southeast Asia. You might have seen in the news, but let me not go there. The point I want to make is this. Imagine you going into a cave that's completely dark for thousands of years, nobody has gone there. And now you enter with a candle or with a lamp, and you lit the lamp. How long does it take for the darkness to go away? It's instantaneous, right? And so lighting the clay cave and getting rid of the darkness are not two different steps, but that is actually a one step. Okay? Same thing, we can talk for hours, and actually people do, which is talk about the real science, social science, Marxist science, and so on. We really don't need to talk in this two fashion. We can simply talk about what is the right method. Naturally, anything that is contrary to that is the wrong method. So I'm saying establishing truthful claims and eliminating false claims is not a two-step process, but just focus on getting the things right to the best of your ability. Everything else that is not true will follow. Alright, so for any scientific theory, these are the 5 elements. At the top you need a theory. Okay, I'm just going to take you quickly through this. What does the theory mean? You need a very